All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of D&D Now, the show where I take you in depth into the different adventures that I think are really well written, pre-written adventures, and help you to get ready to play D&D now. If you watched the last episode, you know that I gave an overview of Shackles of Blood, an adventure from the third season of the D&D Adventurers League. And I also explained the faction system that was in place back when that adventure was current to help you understand like the hooks and everything that were built into it. But I did say I would do another video to specifically for DMs on tips on how to run this particular adventure, and just tips in general on how to run an adventure online, so that even in this time of distancing, you can still connect with some people and have fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's dive into the adventure itself and talk about some of the parts that will help you in preparing for this. So we go here. Obviously, this is the adventure. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. Again, there will be a link in the description below to actually purchase this adventure, and because of that, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I don't want to be taking money out of the pockets of the people that wrote these adventures or anything like that. And I believe it's worth it. I think it's the $3 for the adventure, so it's great. But I do want to show you what you will be looking at. Really, with almost any Adventurers League adventure, they all follow very similar writing patterns, and that's on purpose. And these are things that will help you to be able to run the game. So, again, this is what the cover page will look like. It's got the adventure code. It's got the description that I talked about before. Again, this is back when it was called the D&D Expeditions. They changed it later on to just Adventurers League and didn't worry about the Expeditions to the title anymore. But this stuff is just the front page, basically. As you can see, all of them are going to have this thing that I generally tend to skip. But one of the things you want to look at when you first do it is this introduction right here, specifically this part right here where it says, I don't know why it says 5 mini adventures. That's wrong. That's an issue with some of the older Adventure League titles in general, is they will have editing errors and stuff like that. You can get around it. But it's going to tell you exactly who this is designed for and what it's optimally designed to be played by. So you can see this is anywhere from the 3 to 7 first to 4th level characters. But it's optimized for 5 to the 3rd level characters. So that means if you are running this adventure with 5 3rd level characters, you will quite literally run it as written. Now, in the adventure itself, it does have ways on how to modify encounters and things like that for larger parties, for smaller parties, for more powerful parties, for less powerful parties. All of that is built into this, which is what makes running them so easy. Literally just go through the adventure to do what it says, and you don't have to worry too much about, is this battle balanced? Is there something I'm going to need to do? Don't worry. The adventure's already done that for you for the most part. None of these are perfect, but the rest of this stuff is just talking about the Adventurers League, talks about preparing the adventure. I'm going to give you a better idea of how to prepare the adventure than this little section here. And this stuff you don't have to do either, but if you want to, it can make running the game a little bit faster, let's just say. So we have more stuff here, adjusting the adventure. This whole section here explains basically how to tell if you need to adjust it at all. It talks about the average party level. It's really simple to do. You add up everybody's level, you divide it by the number of players, and that'll give you the average party level. And again, the average party level is this one is actually optimized for party of 5 first level characters. Again, it happens in these things where they will accidentally put the wrong thing in there. Because this is such an early adventure, I'm going to assume that this is the correct one, not 5 at the 3rd level, 5 of a 1st level. So if your average party level is higher than 1, you're going to have, as you can see, this is all this is how it explains everything to you. It looks complicated. It isn't. Look how many characters you have, what the average party level is compared to level 1 is what this one is for. And then you do very weak, average, strong, very strong. Super simple. The only time you use that is in counters. This dungeon mastering the adventure, it's great for first time DMs, but it's a little heavy-handed, to be honest. You can generally ignore it and just kind of go with what feels good, to be blunt. Downtime, don't worry about this. Don't worry about this stuff. That's for higher Adventure League stuff. If you were actually running this for the Adventures League and people were playing other adventures as well, don't worry about that stuff. If you're just running this as a one-shot. This is the next section that is super useful for the Dungeon Masters. The adventure background is really useful, because this is going to tell you the stuff you need to know when characters start asking questions like, well, what about this? What about this? This is the basic background of everything that's been going on. It'll help you kind of improvise when you need to. These little text boxes here are just little tips. They're a good idea to read them at least once you become a more comfortable DM. A lot of times you can just skim them. They give you good information, but they're not good gospel or anything like that. The next part that is massively useful, this is the overview. This is actually what happens in the adventure. They're very brief summaries, but this is a perfect way if you need to pace your game. At conventions, we only had, most conventions would give you 4 hours to run one of these adventures. The ones I ran would give you 4.5 to give you just a little bit of leeway. But if you're dealing with people that have stuff at other places in the convention, or you have people with hard out times where they have to leave at a very certain time, this is really nice because it will kind of give you an idea of where you are in this story, so you can pace it better. And it breaks it down into the different parts so that you know what's going on and what to expect in each part. So as you can see, part 1, you have an introduction, you have part 1, part 2, part 3. Generally, the longest part of this particular adventure is going to be part 3, because it is a large combat encounter that is pretty creative. It's got a really interesting map and everything like that. So that is when you're kind of pacing things. Leave a good amount of time for part 3, simply because that will involve a lot of them doing stuff. So the basics of it are, they meet this character, Olisara Lightsong, in a backwater inn, and are recruited by those who harp, which if you watch the last of the video, that's what the harpers call themselves. So the harpers themselves are the ones that are telling that are hiring the players to do this. And they're hiring them to investigate the disappearance of several farming families between the Corwinthorpe Forest and Hillsfar. So basically the area outside of Hillsfar. But part one, characters look into the most recent suspicious disappearances, that of the Tin Fellow family. This is the hook that's going to get them going places. This is where they're going to be able to start doing the adventuring. In the introduction itself, this is a role-playing encounter, so they get to talk to Olasara. They can negotiate pay and things like that. If you're running this as an Adventurers League game, you have no control over pay or anything like that. The Adventurers League doesn't let you change things. If it's just a one-shot, let them negotiate if they want to. Let them, say, well, I think we should be paid this, or maybe you should give us health potions if you want us to do this. Whatever they want. That's the cool thing about D&D. This is just an outline. So again, part one, they're actually going to do a little bit of investigating at the Tin Fellow's homestead. And eventually they will come across a Red Plume patrol. The point of this battle is for them to be overwhelmed. The Red Plumes won't kill any of them. They will subdue them non-lethally so they can capture them. And as you'll find out later, so that they can take them back to Hillsfar and sell them and put them into the arena for battles. So that's what this heavy-handed opening section is talking about. Is some players will feel a little railroaded if you give them an encounter that they're not supposed to win, and is balanced against them. But play it by ear. I've the time that I actually played this, we actually beat all of them because we were really good players, and I was playing my Blade Singer, who was super OP at low levels. So you can do it, and they do have direction as far as what happens if they actually win. But the point of this is to actually get them. They are trying to get them captured by the Red Plumes, either intentionally or unintentionally. So the Red Plumes will take them back to wherever they left the Tin Fellows. Part two, it talks about their capture. That whole section is their capture and their transport back to the arena. Again, if they do win, the way we were able to get to part two is we actually interrogated one of the people that one of the Red Plumes, and then I believe we just pretended to be Red Plumes and slaves to get into the next part, because there was no other way to get into this city other than to be slaves, and we wanted to get to the arena anyway to save our friends. So part two, again, it's the capture and getting to Hillsfar. But part three is the best part, my favorite part about this adventure. What happens is you're sent to the arena, and they have prepared the arena in a very special way. They've put up walls, and they've actually flooded the arena and made these giant kind of scaffoldings and the things like that the players have to deal with. And the actual story behind it is they're reenacting a battle from 100 years ago, where these freedom fighters had to fight against another group of enemies. I believe they were orcs. In this, the part of the bad guys are played by a good group of halflings. And what they had to do is they had to get from these outer areas to this center area and ring a bell for help. And the interesting the thing about it is, again, the whole arena that they're in is filled with water. They have these little islands with multiple levels. There's zip lines in it. It's really cool. It's really fun. The water itself rises during the adventure, or rather, the things sink into the water. So the battlefield keeps changing and doing, and it's just for fun. The water itself is full of like these piranha like the fish, so they can't stay in the water too long, and it's just cool. I'll explain mechanically how you're supposed to run that in a little bit, but suffice it to say, it's a really cool fight, and then at the end of it, they have to actually escape from the city as things just go to hell. Remember, we talked about before that Grazd, one of the demon lords, has been affecting people in Hillsfar. Well, towards the end of this combat, the audience kind of erupt into like an orgy of blood and bad stuff starts happening. The arena itself gets broken. The water gets drained out and floods all these areas, and you have to escape it. Kind of like, a Super Metroid. You've killed Mother Brain, and now you have to run away from an exploding planet. Very similar. So again, really fun, really high octane blast. We talked about the Adventures hook last time. I gave this specific adventure hook because that's the generic one. As a DM, you actually have more adventure hooks. If you actually have Harpers, they have their own adventure hook. And if you have characters that were you just want to say came from Flan or helped out with Flan, they don't actually have to be from there. If this is a one shot, you can just put it as part of their backstory. They have a different hook that you can use. So, and again, this is a very common thing in the early the first 5 seasons of the Adventures League, is they give you a bunch of hooks so that no one hook is going to get every single character. Going after that, as you can see, this is the actual adventure. Anytime you see this, this is what we call block text. You, in general, what you want to do is literally just read this out loud to the players. It's descriptions, it's introductions, it's the things like that the writer wanted the players to hear verbatim or very close to verbatim. So anytime you see box text, the easiest thing to do is just read it to the players, but get into it. If you do voices, you use voices. I would recommend any box text, read it out loud to yourself a couple times, just to get you used to the words. Because if you're reading box text that you've never seen before out loud, you can it's easy to trip up on fantasy words and names. And that just makes you feel more self-conscious. So proud of your prep work. Read all the box text out loud to yourself. There's not a lot of it, and you may not even use all of it, depending on how your players choose, but it will make you feel more confident. This is another thing you will see in a lot of adventures when it's a role-playing encounter. Every one of these bullet points is something that the players can learn. It doesn't mean they have to learn it. Let the players guide the conversation. If they ask questions, if they try to persuade her, deceive her, intimidate her, anything where they're doing stuff, they can learn any one of these little bullet points. And they don't have to learn all of them. They can learn as little or as many as the party wants to. And don't feel bad if they don't learn any of it. That's one of the things about playing an RPG is if your characters aren't asking questions, they're going to miss really important things. and the adventure is going to continue despite the fact that they don't know that. Let them make mistakes. Let them learn that it's okay to ask questions, just like if they were actually accepting a job. And if they don't ask questions, they might get into a situation where they don't know what they're supposed to do. And that's okay. Let them think their way out of it. Sometimes the solution they come up with will be, okay, let's tear down this wall and just leave. And that's okay. And other times, they'll need a little bit of guidance from you. The nice things about these bullet point things is they're supposed to learn them from Olisara. Doesn't mean they have to. If they're later on in the adventure and they've missed something that seems to be causing issues, they can overhear a couple guards talking about it. Or they could talk to another prisoner, and that prisoner could tell them. Just because Olisara is the person that they're supposed to learn it from doesn't mean they have to. The other thing you'll see in a lot of these adventures is this. Role-playing Olisara light song. These are great. Especially if you are not a very confident role player. These will give you a really nice kind of thing. This is kind of what she does. This is her motivation. So when the players ask a question that's not answered here, you can go, oh, well, this is kind of her makeup. This is how I think she would react to that. Another thing, if your players ask something that's not on here, I'll talk about another document that you can read that's really useful. But you can just make it up. Or Olisara can say, I don't know. No one knows anything. And if they ask a question that's just really weird and you didn't think about it, and the adventure itself didn't mention anything thing about it, Olisara probably doesn't know it either. So feel free to go, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. And I don't think it's really valid for this particular quest that I'm sending you on. Anything I want. If the players are hostile, Olisara can be hostile to them. The players are really nice, Olisara can be very, very nice to them. Treat Olisara as you would treat any other person. They have different moods. They're not omnipotent. And she has a purpose in this story, but that doesn't mean she has to know absolutely everything, and nor does it mean that you have to know everything. If it's not in the document, either make it up if you feel comfortable, go, you know what, I don't know, and move on. So after that, you see the last thing, it talks about rewards. Again, if you're playing this official adventure league, these are non-negotiable. If you're not, feel free to, increase it a little bit, decrease it a little bit if they're being a little nasty, if they negotiate. A good rule of thumb is you can go roughly about 50% either direction from what's offered in the adventure. If you are not playing the Adventures League, again, Adventures League has very strict rules. But if you're just playing as a one-shot, 50% either way is fine. If they're kind of nasty and Olisara, you feel that Olisara just doesn't like them, she might offer them half of what the adventure says. And if they want to negotiate it, they negotiate it poorly. They might get half. If they want to negotiate, they negotiate well. They might get an extra half. So instead of a 40 gold, they might get 60 gold up front. The things like that. These give you the ability to let the players feel that they're in control of the narrative, which is how they should feel. This is their story that you're guiding them through. So you can see, here's the different parts. As you can see, each one, you'll have a character, you'll have bullet points, you have text. We're not going to go through everything here. I want to find really quickly. So sorry, I'm just looking to see if they have. sorry, I'm reading very, very quickly. What I'm looking for right now is generally there's a thing if you have just a strong party, you change things like this. I don't think there's anything in this particular section. This is the ambush we talked about where they can get captured. But because this is designed to be put them in a bad situation, it's designed for them to lose. So they kind of heavy weighted it already. As you can see, here's part 2. We're not going to go too much into that. And then this part 3 explains the actual battle itself. As you can see, it gives features. It gives the different areas in there. Talks about the zip lines, everything. It's got some box text, and then it actually has a section about crowd excitement. The crowd will get more excited by what's happening. And again, this crowd is being manipulated by a demon. So they want blood. They want excitement into the things like that. So feel free during the battle to have the crowd, mention when the things happen. The crowd cheers. The crowd jeers. They boo. They hiss. Anything to just keep that idea of you guys are fighting in front of this massive crowd, in addition to being in danger for your life. After the end, there's a riot in the stadium. They have to run away as quickly as possible. Here's some more box text. And here's the adjusting the encounter. So you can see very weak party, strong party, very strong party. It's super simple. You just follow what they say in these adjusting the encounter areas. Then they have a conclusion, the XP award, and you're done. This whole area is basically at the end you can divvy out gold, experience, and stuff like that. It's really so simple. These are the magic items that they might have found. It doesn't mean that they did find them. It means it's possible they could have. So feel free, if they didn't find these items in the adventure, don't give it to them. And then downtime, renown, and all that stuff, that's just Adventures League stuff. You don't have to worry about it. So the next section is the other part that's really useful. These are the monster NPC statistics. We call them stat blocks. When you're in a fight, it will tell you what's the stat blocks to use. It tells you what actions they have, what it attacks, everything. Running these adventures is really simple because you don't need a monster manual or anything like that. All your stat blocks for everything are right here. And it's super easy and thing. The only thing you might need is having a player's handbook, or at least the basic rules. This is specifically the magic spells section, because these are the different spells that one of the characters may or may not use. And if you're not familiar with them, you will want to be, because in order for them to use it, you have to know what this spells do. So other than that, everything is here for you. It's massively simple to run. As you can see, all the different stat blocks are there. You just look for what it says in the adventure, and you find this is a stat block, and that's all. When I used to run these, I always would print them out, so I could have the monster section separate from the rest of it, so I could have the page open to the adventure and all this stuff about how to run the encounter, and then the monsters over on this side, so I could just leaf through them. If you're running it on a computer, you can print it out. However, it's just as easy to remember, okay, NPCs start on page 26. So easy there. Now, this is another really useful part, the DM appendix. What this has is it has brief descriptions of all the NPCs you might have to play, and the most important, how to pronounce their names. Again, in fantasy games, you get really weird names. Driz. Like even here, you have Bartogir, Burrix, Vandermast, Hakan Ehrlich. So it's Hakan Ehrlich, Dirk Ehrlich. All these weird names. You just go to the back and tells you how to pronounce them. It also gives you a brief description of them. So this is another page that's nice to just have or remember. It's page 31. The last thing that comes in these adventures is any maps that you need. Now, running this online, this creates a slight issue. If you were running this at a table, you could print out the maps if you wanted to do that. And just a standard D&D map, each square is 1 inch on a side. You can go to any print shop and say, hey, I need you to print just this area with the squares on it. I need each square to be 1 inch, and they can generally do it for you. Online, though, it becomes a much bigger hassle. In order to get these maps to work, you can try cutting them out, uploading them as an image, and then going into something like Roll20 and adding them in, and it gets confusing. And especially with this map, this is the arena battle. But because of how much this is stuff and how technical it is, this is something that you really need a map for. Running this, what's called the theater of the mind, is very difficult. So that's the biggest hang-up. And what would be really nice is if they had something like super easy, like something that was already cut and already in the right size and everything. Maybe this is something like that. This is a map that I made in RPG Maker MV. It's where I make most of my maps now, simply because it uses a grid system, so it works with the D&D, and I understand the interface. There's a ton of mapping programs you can use out there. RPG Maker MV is expensive. I think normally it's like $80 bucks. But you can't really argue with it. Again, if you look at the actual map, it's not exact, but it's pretty darn close, and it's already in 1 inch squares. You can't see them here, but it is done. So with this adventure, there will be a link in the description below where you can actually just download this map for free. It'll be on my Patreon page, because it's just easier to host files there for people to download. But it'll be 100% free. You don't have to be my patron. But if you want to be, it'll make me feel very good. You can download this map, and oops, wrong map. This map. This is the map I made for the Bell and Depths, just to explain how it works. That's actually the water. Anything on the dirt is at the same level as the water. Anything metal, anything metal is going to be to 10 feet above. And anything white is going to be to 20 feet above the water line. And if you can see on the white post in the northeast corner and the southwest corner, you see these two little posts. I couldn't draw a line in our RPG Maker. There may be a way to do it. I don't know. I don't know the program very well. I just know how to make some maps. But that's where the zip lines are, and they go down to the post there. And then each one of the stair things you see there are ladders for them to get up to the next level. So metal looking stairs go up to the 10-foot high thing, and any wooden looking stairs go up to go from the 10 foot to the 20 foot. So pretty simple. It looks very similar to the map itself, just a little bit bigger. You can still go off I made this map looking at that map there. Everything is identical to that map. So, but anyway, that will help you be able to run it. And then now, running things in Roll20 can seem a little intimidating. And again, this is D&D Now. I want to give you everything you need to be able to run D&D Now. We've already talked about the adventure itself. You can get it for the $3, I believe, and download it, read through it a couple times, and you're ready to run it. But you need a place to run it. So why don't we talk about Roll20? Again, Roll20 is my personal preference as far as running games online, because it's really simple to do and it's for free. As you guys can see, this is the homepage for Roll20. This is mine. These are the different campaigns I have open right now. Not all of them I'm running currently. I just haven't gotten rid of them. But I'm going to just walk you through really quickly how to create a game and how to put these maps into your game so you can play. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a new game. Super simple. I'm just going to call this D&D Now, because that's the show. And if I do decide to run things as a part of D&D Now, I can just use this as the way to do it. Now, all you have to do is give it a name and click I'm ready to create game. I do recommend go down here. It says choose a character sheet. It's a good idea if you're going to be using a specific system to use their character sheet. The character sheets are remarkably well done. They have tons of character sheets in here, but the only one that we need is D&D 5e by Roll20. When I click on it, that looks very familiar. It looks like a 5th edition character sheet, like exactly. So that makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to hit I'm ready to create game. It creates the game. Now I'm going to go launch game. It's going to actually get me into this game as the DM. Now you see a lot of white space and nothing there. We're going to fix that. So the first thing I want to do is I don't like it being this close. So I back it up to about 60%. What we want to do for first is we want to get those maps in there. Again, the maps are going to make things easier for you to run. Generally, what I like to do, you could click on this thing here, the page toolbar, which is cut off slightly. Let's just see if I can fix that real quick. There we go. All right, so we're going to go here, click on the page toolbar. That'll bring down your different pages. I like to have this as a start screen, just have an image or something, just so they have something to look at while you're running the game. You have an art library. I've got tons of art and stuff like that in here. This is my... you can literally just find a picture online, preferably one that is not copywritten. This is actually a map I made of my custom world. And all I did to do with it is I do that. And then now they have something to look at while we're doing this. If you can find a non-copywritten picture of like this is a Sword Coast or the Moon Sea area, That's a really great thing to have. Just find the Dungeons and Dragons has tons of artwork that they put out for marketing purposes and the things like that. Desktop backgrounds, all of it's for free. You can use that. This just gives them something to look at while you're running the game. They're not going to be interacting with it at all. It's just something pretty. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to open this. We're going to create a new page. We go to the page. We're going to go page setting. Both of these adventures are 20 inches by 20 inches, or 20 squares by 20 squares. So we're just going to go 20 by 20. And then I generally recommend make the grid, enable the grid, because it makes it easier for the players to know how they can move. And I turn the color black just because it's easier. Don't worry about anything else. Just 20 by 20, change it to black, hit OK. We're going to click on this. Now, in the thing here, you have art library. And again, you have premium assets, which we're not dealing right now, or my library. So you can see my library has tons of stuff from the different campaigns that I run. However, what we're going to do is we're going to upload. You can just click on it and upload it like any other file. I've already uploaded them, so we don't have to do that for me. And we're going to start with, this is the first map that I showed you where they get ambushed. I'm just going to click and hold and drag it over. It'll be very, very small. I just take it to the corner here. We already know that this is 20 feet, or 20 squares by 20 squares, and the area is 20 squares by 20 squares. So we don't have to measure or anything. We literally just extend it to there. As you can see, there's the map. And the last thing you want to do is right-click on it, go to Layer, go to Map Layer, and now you have your grid. As you can see, when you go back to the adventure, this is where it is. You can see the ambush point is right there, and everything. So you can have this open and switch between it and roll 20 or not, whatever, you know, floats your boat. But with the map here, you can go a little closer since it's a smaller map. You've got everything you need to run. Now, to get the players here, when you look at this, you see this little thing that says players up to the top here. That's what the players are. You can switch to whatever map you want as the Dungeon Master, but the players are going to stay on the map they're supposed to until you want them to go. So for this one, go here, and all we're going to do is we're going to click and hold, move them over here. And now the players see this. But how do you get minis for the players? You know, you want them to be able to use their minis. You want to have, you know, minis for the bad guys. Well, it's where premium assets could come in. Excuse me. So, premium assets are assets you have to buy. However, you may have noticed something because this is strange. There's this thing that says free assets. Wonder what free assets means. Oh, look, it's a bunch of free assets. Like, let's say you have someone that's playing a knight. Look, you have a knight. You know, you need the thugs for the bad guys. If you need see, maybe that's one of your thugs, or you know, maybe this is one of your thugs that they're going to be fighting against. Really simple. You yourself can move these without any issues whatsoever. However, for the players, and you just click on them. Don't worry about that. You don't need to click on them. You can delete them. However, what about the players? They don't have access to this. Well, what you can do then, again, to get you playing the D&D now, probably the easiest thing to do, pick a couple minis that you like. Well, like him. Oh, I gotta have a wizard. Everybody loves a ranger. Let's get, this is someone that looks kind of paladin-y. A knight has kind of a paladin-y look. And then, hey, everybody loves an elf. So you've got 5 different things there. If you want the players to be able to use them, we're going to go to the journal tab. Go to the journal. We're going to click add. I'm going to go click a character. If you were playing a full-blown adventure or anything like that, and I'm actually going to cancel this real quick. Really? Because we're going to do something. If you're playing a real adventure where people are going to be coming back, this is the same campaign, you would want to put the characters and the name in there, give them access to the character sheets and stuff like that. This is the D&D now. We're just going to play the game as quick as possible. So what we're going to do is before we click the add, I'm just going to click on one of the figurines. I'm going to click add character, and I want to click here, go use selected token. So now this token is connected to this character. That's important. And I'm just going to name them player 1. Now, for other players to be able to see it, normally what you would do is each character, each player, when they join your game, you would put it in their specific player journal. However, again, this is the D&D now. We're not trying to do a whole campaign. We just want to get the people playing. So we're just going to put in all players' journals and can be edited, controlled by all players. In a full-blown game, this can get a little bit confusing because everybody can access everyone else's character sheet. But for this is a simple one. This is all we really need to do. We're going to click Save Changes and then close it. We don't need to put anything into the character sheet or anything like that. The players themselves can use their own character sheets on their own computer. They can roll their own dice. They can use dice rollers, anything like that. All of that stuff can be done in Roll20, but again, this is down and dirty, just getting people playing. So now that we have a player 1, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to remove that because I don't need it anymore. If I click and hold on the player 1 in the name and drag it in, look, now that's player 1, and they can move their character wherever they want. We do this as the same thing with each other one. We start by clicking, add character. We go player 2. Everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. We use this as a selected token. Save, close. Look, now I've got a player 2. Again, because this is down and dirty, this is exactly what would happen if I was running like a pop-up game at a convention. I would literally break out my minis, break out a map, and I would go, okay, here, this can be your mini, this is your mini. It doesn't matter what character they're playing. The mini is just there for them to have something that represents them on the map. You want them to be different so everyone knows who's who, but that's about it. And so you can do that for all 5 characters, or you can get as creative as you want. You can use 10 characters to 20 characters to give them plenty of options as far as minis that they can use. But for the down and dirty, just make about 5 is generally good, and just give them to people. Hey, you are player 1. Anytime you need to go on the map, just click on player 1 to drag them on. They will snap to the grid automatically, so makes it super easy to do all that. And then you just play the game. Most of what you're doing is going to be done in just in the theater of the mind, I guess you could call it. You're going to be describing things. You're not going to have a map for absolutely everything, just the combat the things. But that means when you aren't in active combat, you can just take them back to your kind of splash page, and then they know that they don't need to focus on the screen as much. They need to focus on you. As far as communication is concerned, again, if you go to my settings over here, built in, Roll20 has voice chat automatically on. It'll ask for permission to use your webcam and your mic. As long as they okay either or, you don't have to use a webcam. You do want to use a mic. That makes it a little easier. If you don't want to, or if your players don't want to have their mics on, or they don't have access to a mic, you do have a chat here where they can just say, I want to steal a coin purse. They can type that in, and they can interact with you that way as well. I tend to recommend at least using the voice chat. The reason mine is not popping up is my webcam and mic are both being used by OBS to record this. But if I didn't have that going on, I would just pop up in this little place that says TJ Plays. For the most part, that's it. If you want to DM this, literally you have everything you need in the description below. Buy the adventure and download it. It's pretty simple to do. It's a fun adventure. That last battle where they have to worry about getting in and out of the water and the other bad guys and stuff like that, it's super fun to play. I'll have my maps on my Patreon. I'll have links to the page where you can download them for free. So you can use those maps in your games. You can make your own maps if you want to. Like I said, there's lots of ways to do it. I just want to give you everything you need to run it in and now. And then all you need to do is go to roll20.net, create a free account, and go through the process I just showed you to start a start a game, and you're done. You have absolutely everything you need to get up and running, probably within 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how quickly you can read this adventure. The adventure itself is only 34 pages long, and a lot of those pages are stat blocks and the first, what is it? Seriously? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So yeah, the adventure doesn't start until page 8, and the adventure is over by page 26. So we're talking less than 20 pages of reading. You can easily get that done in less than an hour and be ready to play the game and do this. So yeah, that's D&D now, and hopefully this gives you the confidence to actually give this a shot, to try some DMing. Feel free to get a group of friends over the internet. Obviously, we want to keep our distancing, but get a few friends, buy a couple different adventures that you like, and have everyone to take turns DMing. Just see who likes it the most. You may find that you enjoy DMing, or you have a couple people that enjoy DMing that might just rotate off running one-shots until we can all get our lives back in order. And then after all this is done, you can still keep running games. You can start your own campaign. Do whatever you want. This is just a stepping stone that you can use now to keep your sanity. But later on, you can use it to run games and interact with people from the other side of the world. I have run games where I had people in 3 or 4 different time zones. One of which was literally on the opposite side of the world. I was running in the U.S. and she was playing from Australia. We just did it in Roll20. It was just super simple, super easy. If you're using video and voice chat, things will go wrong. It's not super stable, so I'm sorry about that. In a later episode, I may go through other options that you can use for video and voice chat. Yeah. Other than that, have fun. Don't take it too seriously, and get started on some D&D now. That's all for me today, and I will see you guys in the next time. All right. Bye.